Welcome to the very first edition of ROBS Rigs, where we go through people's rigs with the Delta rigs. ROBS Delta rigs. It's got a nice name.
Pleasure to see you, Rob.
Pleasure to see you, Elliott. So Elliott Hammond of the Delta rigs here. What's going on? What are you guys doing that's different this time?
Well, we're going out as Billy Corgan's backing band in a kind of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers fashion. So what's different is I'm on the drums. Usually I'm the singer of the band, but some people know this and other people don't, but I am actually the drummer in the band when we're in the studio. So the four-piece lineup that we're using for Billy Corgan is how the band actually is in the studio. So yeah, it's not like it's a foreign kind of world for me to be in. It's actually more natural than being up the front.
Yes. And you drum yourself for other people, right? Like you...
Yeah. I started out as a session drummer. That was like my... I moved to Sydney and I thought I was going to be like Steve Jordan or something, and I was working for pop stars like Natalie Bassingthwaite and Delta Goodrum and Brian McFadden and stuff like that, doing a lot of Sony kind of session stuff. But then I started kind of songwriting and developing that kind of side of the music too. So I gravitated away from the drums, but these days I actually do a lot of session drumming and like drums behind the scenes for people's records. It's just not really discussed that much. Or
no,
yeah.
Well, that's why. Well, what a time that we can discuss it.
We can.
Like we can let the secrets out. So who are you drumming for at the moment?
At the moment, obviously with Billy Corgan. Also was just out doing Dope Lemon. We were out with Post Malone, which was like New Zealand and Australia. I was drumming for a great artist called Tyne James Organ, who's from Kiama. Just finished the newest Hayley Mary record that came out. I've done some stuff with All Day. Man, I don't know, the list goes on. It's constantly evolving. And I actually don't even know how I get these jobs because I'm not on LinkedIn, or I'm not like, I'm not a full endorsee, like kind of drummer's drummer. I just kind of keep getting calls and,
You're good at what you do. I mean, that sounds like what it's all about, So, yeah. But I guess you don't know how you get these jobs. So the job that I'm curious about how it all came to be is you guys are playing with Billy Corgan. Now, how did that happen?
So, that was pretty wild for us too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Long story short, we kind of grew up in the punk scene, before the Delta Rigs were in kind of various punk bands. And one of the big promoters now was kind of coming up in that scene as well. We've always been kind of pretty good mates with him, and I'd put a band together for Dan Sultan, and was playing a festival called Treaty Day Out, and I was having a cigarette kind of after the show, and this guy called Darren, who I've known for a long time, he goes, "You got out of this van?" I'm like, "Man, what are you doing here?" He goes, "Oh, I'm dropping this band off." He's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, I put Dan's band together, he's like, "Oh, is that you on the drums? That was a great show." He's like, "I'd seen Dan a few times, and that was the kind of best version." I was like, "Oh, cheers, man, that means a lot." So I guess that must have stayed in the back of his head, because they pitched to bring Billy out, and they were going to put together like a Guy Sebastian style kind of session band of hired guns. And I don't think that was resonating too well with him, because he's a musical guy, he's pretty serious about music. So they sent me a note and said, "Look, could you just put some stuff together of what the rigs kind of do?" They didn't tell me who it was for. I thought it was for Iggy Pop, actually. They said it's a big name, but they couldn't really give me too much information. So, yeah, Billy, had a look at the band and looked into what we do, and he was sold. He was after something a bit more kind of musical, like I said, and I think it ticked all the boxes. So, we had a call. We did like a Zoom call with the band, and just kind of had a chat about the bands that we like listening to and how he wanted to present the show. And then I flew over to meet him in San Fran, and we had a night together, talked a bit more about it. But really, he's coming in tomorrow. This is the first time that we'll be in the room with him, and it's pretty wild for an established band to get in the room with a completely established, multi-Grammy award-winning, frontman, songwriter, but that's going to happen here tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting, man. This could be a new thing for the rigs,
I think so. I think it's it's definitely a conversation that's going to be had, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do our thing and present these songs in the best way we can for him. And yeah, I'm sure that will be like another conversation, but we're hoping so.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I guess, so the point of Rob's Rigs, I guess, is to find out about what you're playing and why. And in the context. So I guess let's start with the kit. So what are you playing for this show, you know?
So this setup is pretty much like this is what my main setup would be. It doesn't really differ too much. Obviously the snare drums change, the drums change from time to time, but I'm pretty excited about this one because this kit here is a Cambridge kit, which is a handmade kit from the UK. It's actually the first one that's in the country, and I'm not aware of any other ones. So it's like pretty exciting to be getting around with this. The variations, I guess, for this one that I asked for and they could do was this is a 13x9, which is more of like you'd get that in a classic kind of, Ringo Starr that kind of setup. Usually I'd run a 12x8, but that was an option there, so that's awesome. And then a bit of a shallower kick, so that's like a 22x16. That was also a bit of a stylistic decision because when we were talking with Billy about the show, we were talking about bands like The Band and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and kind of Big Star and bands that use these more traditional kind of sizing. So yeah, I didn't think we needed as big a bass drum for, like, it's not a Smashing Pumpkins show, it's a Billy Corgan show,
Yeah.
I got 14x16 here and a 16x16.
Yep.
That's also pretty standard. We use that in the rigs as well. And then, as you can probably notice, which is the main thing that people ask about, is the size of the cymbals, which are
massive.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to them now, but I like, even the one of the guys in the rehearsal space came in before. I was like, "Whoa, what is this stuff? It's crazy." I've got a hot take on this, and it's like, I actually fully back this. And I was talking with Josh, who's doing monitors, and he does front of house for Dan Sultan as well. And my take is that bigger cymbals actually take up less real estate in the mix because they sit in a different frequency. They've got kind of a mid-range, like a darker kind of tone to them. And when you have, like even these are 18-inch crash cymbals that we've got here. You would think that'd be just a noisy mess, but they're actually more refined and lighter to the touch than a pair of hi-hats because they're... So I find that bigger cymbals live actually means a cleaner mix. It's not getting in the way of the singer, and usually with the front of house I can find a better way to kind of place everything. And it also works well in the studio too. We'd normally use kind of like darker cymbals. This is like this is an 18. We'd normally probably have like a 20 on it, but for the Billy Corgan stuff, in some of the bigger hits have much more responsive crashes. Jimmy Chamberlain's kit is like...
Yeah, this is real different to Jimmy.
So Jimmy Chamberlain basically has like one of everything. You know, like if you can think of it, he's probably got it on his setup. This is much more refined than that. But I think that like it was basically designed off the rig setup and then just kind of like hot rodded up a bit with like just a couple of smaller cymbal options and then this popcorn snare, which is just another tonal thing. It just gives it it's kind of a garage kind of sound. I actually bought that when I was 17, and I put this skin on it, and I was just, as you can probably notice, all the skins are brand new. And I was talking to the drum tech about this one, and I was like, man, it sounds so good. I'm kind of terrified to change it because it's like yeah. So he's like, we can't take that risk, man. We've got to like leave it on. So that's been on there for a long time. So this is it.
It's like a 70s drummer.
I think like Stevie Wonder does that a lot. Like apparently in his studio, he refuses to take off the original skins that it went in with, and they're all indented and got gaff over them. And it's like, he's like, no, this is how we leave it. So
I back it.
Cool. The pedal, which you probably can't get to, is like a Big Dog pedal. That's another
that is cool.
British brand that you won't really find in Australia. I actually have the matching hi-hat stand. I'm devastated that I couldn't get it rigged up for this tour. I was really, really excited to do it, but I'm having issues with a rivet So yeah, we've got just a DW 9000 over here, which is, a great honest pedal. We've got the clap stack, which is like AA minor.
Yep.
Gear over here.
Give us a
So that's kind of like another kind of FX style cymbal that you can
Yeah.
808 style thing. This is, I'm pretty sure this is a 22. This is AA minor as well, like a Byzant cymbal. They call that a Dark China Ride. And then obviously this massive guy here, which is a 24 pasty big beat. That's your classic Bonham kind of style ride. These huge cymbals offset by these kind of like shallower bass drum. I think it's like, aesthetically it looks really rad. I'm big into kind of, obviously,
And you've done the whole little red
there's a
felts.
couple of
You've
2%ers there.
gone the whole way.
Well, we've even got actually the red tambourine too. So there's a few 2%ers in there. But yeah, I think that I love drums, and I love, like, not only do I love how drums sound, but I love how drums look. I love the finish of drums. I love the endless variations of options you can put on them. We've got a whole other set of skins, the color tone skins we might put on, like for one of the shows, which are like the blue ones back here.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that it's just like for this one, because it's the first time I'm using the kit, it'll be nice to change over some skins and really kind of, it's like putting it on the track, like see what it can do.
Yeah.
And we get to do that on, huge major stage festivals. So it's like, it's going to really,
it's going to
get
really
a good workout.
And so one of the things that you'll all notice as well is that Cambridge have tied in this finish to the guitars from the guys are playing as well, which you'll see later in another video. But which is really cool.
It is. It's another great aesthetic. That's this is what we're calling like an active galactic sparkle, which has got like a green. You can see that. I don't know if you can on the camera, but it's kind of got like a green
fleck. Sick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what else I can tell you.
Well, I guess one of the things I'm always really curious about is like, how are you going to play it, and like, can you give us a taste of, how you're going to perform with this? I guess, like, can you give us a little run through of like something that's out of a song, or how you're going to use the kit? Because I suppose that's what everybody wants to know a bit.
Obviously we can't give too much away, but like, I think generally with even the way that I set up the kit, and it's an interesting question, like how will you play it? Like you probably notice that the hi-hats are kind of quite far forward. They're not like really over here. Yeah. So that's been something that like I was kind of like, I had a jazz teacher that was kind of talking about like the free flow of drumming, and you kind of don't really want to be that constricted, So I kind of, this setup is like, for me, it's like a blank canvas. That's why the stuff is kind of low and flat, again, in that kind of jazz style thing. So I can just feel like, it's just, anything's possible to do on it. It's not like a clunky thing. It shouldn't feel difficult to play. Everything should just kind of move naturally. So I guess maybe I can just show you what I just was with like this track called Wrath, which is in the set list, and it does feature the clap stack, but it also features these kind of double floor toms, which is kind of a cool part. So this would be like, this is kind of the verse into the chorus. You know what I mean? Like even when I play it, it's just like an easy thing to get around. It doesn't feel like,
fluid and natural.
Yeah, as it should.
And it's gonna have it's gonna have your swing to it and your feel, which is gonna be nice. It's gonna be it's gonna be good to do. I mean, hopefully Billy gets like a bit of a new vibe to some of these songs that we've been listening for a long time.
I think that, like, even as a band, our approach is going to be different. But as a drummer, I'm like, Jimmy and I like chalk and cheese. I'm more of like a pocket beat kind of guy, and Jimmy's really chop based, and he's like quite he's a busy drummer. Yeah. There's a lot going on back there.
Yeah.
I think it's because I've got into the songwriting and singing. I try, and when I play drums, I'm usually trying to stay out of the way a little bit more.
Yeah.
But in saying that, he's a fucking fantastic drummer. It's just, I think the approach for me is going to be a little bit simpler.
Yeah.
I did have a cool variation on 1979 actually, which is like, and that's what I'm using this snare for. The hi-hat pattern is weird because it was based off like an electronic drum part that was plugged in. So then Jimmy kind of played over the top of that. I was trying to figure that out without the sample. And so that kind of sounds something like this.
Nice.
So yeah, you get an idea of the difference between the snares. And that song is a great example of how expressive the crash cymbals as hi-hats can be, because you can really get that shoulder in and go from that.
I think everyone listening to that is probably just in their mind tracking the song as you're playing. Knowing exactly the cue,
Totally. It's pretty wild song to play. To be honest.
Absolutely. What's just quickly before we wrap up, what sticks are you using as well? What do we got there?
ProMark natural finishes. If I can't get these, I actually keep sandpaper in my bag, and I just like shave off the lacquer that they put on them. I just find that really annoying.
I do the same to my guitar necks.
Right, that's cool. So I'm a bit of a to be honest with you, like these sticks, I love ProMark sticks. I've always played them. They break so fucking much. I have 2 pairs of Vaders in here that have would outlast these 3 times.
Wow.
But I just am a sucker for the branding, and I just love playing ProMarks. I think just even this just helps me with gauging and metering where my hands are on the stick, because I actually will change my sticking if I'm kind of playing something slow or half time. Like I'll tend to be sitting back here, more of like a Dennis Chambers kind of. Fucking really, you shouldn't really be playing like that, but I do. And then if we're doing something faster, I'll be further up on the stick, and just having this line here helps me kind of. You're gonna be like right up here, getting as much kind of rebound as you can. This is like a bad habit that I picked up of watching too many Dennis Chambers kind of videos, but it's fucking addictive. Yeah. Nice. So that's the rundown with the sticks.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
I've got no brand loyalty, as you can see. There's shit everywhere.
Just everything. Just all different. Yeah, you've got one of everything from every big cymbal company. It's like, it's no, but it's fun. You know what you like. And
I used to. There was a time when I was. We were talking off camera about this, when I had all these endorsements and I had to use certain products. Right now I'm a bit freer, especially in the cymbal department, so I'm kind of just having a lot of fun being a bachelor in the
Yeah.
symbol department and just kind of.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might not be forever. We've all got to settle down in some stage.
That's true. You got to find your forever girl symbol.
But well, it's interesting because I feel people often like I consider the drum kit as my original mistress, really.
Yeah.
The thing that I keep on kind of like going back to all the time. So it is. Yeah. I really need to kind of get a little bit more brand loyalty going, I think, and not just be so flippant. But for now, this is the Billy Corgan setup, and there's one of every kind of symbol. That's just how it is.
Well, thanks, man. Really appreciate that. That's I can't wait to see the show. And if you got any questions for Elliott and all the rest of it, leave them down in the comments below. Yeah, man. Have a great tour with Billy.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks so much for showing us through your rig.
No worries.
All right. Catch you guys later.